Welcome back, everyone. I wanted to cover something very important right now. First off, don't be surprised if you see Dogecoin's price increase today. The bullishness is going to another level. We're breaking records. The open interest for Doge is now over $2 billion. We are headed toward 80% long and 20% short in Dogecoin here. This is how you get parabolic action, to be honest with you. So on the 5 minute, the 30 minute, the 1 hour, the 4 hour, one day, we can take a look here. 70% on the long, 29% on the short, 30 minute, step over 70%, 29, 1 hour over 70, 29, 4 hour, 71 over 28. And the one day is 73 over 26, right? So we are seeing longs just absolutely keep pushing the shorts back and absolutely take control over this market here. So this is how that gap gets filled to 30 cent and beyond that we were talking about in the charts. We're going to take a look at that in a moment. But when you start having this type of momentum, when longs just absolutely take over and all of the orders that are coming in are going to be like long, we believe that this asset's undervalued, it's going higher, we're taking positions. And this is what I talked about yesterday when I said that the longs are swapping, right? And if you watched the video from yesterday, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. But I talked about the longs were swapping. They took profits. We went down, and now they're gaining. Now they're jumping back in. Now I put the possibility that we could potentially retest around the 18 mark. Went to like 19.4 for like a split second. You can check it out on some exchanges. If you move the cursor, you can see it. But then it rallied immediately. The positions were coming in. The people are saying, "Hey, the people are buying the dip. The longs are repositioning." It bounced and we're back up to I think 21 cent. Last I checked a few moments ago. So sometimes it doesn't need to go all the way down to that support level. Sometimes the momentum is just too strong, and then you end up rallying before you even get that low because of FOMO. People don't want to miss out, especially if it bumps a little bit. That normally triggers people to go ahead and jump in because they're afraid it's going to run, and they'd rather have it at 19 or 20 and then 22, 23, 25 versus hoping it goes to 18. So that's typically how that works, not psychologically, but the longs are dominating. It's really crazy here. I'm going to take a look here. Matter of fact, we're going to take a look at a different chart because I want to show you this is getting absolutely crazy. But this is what you expect in a bull run, right? This is what you expect in a market where the longs and the bulls take over. So here you have it. A new record, open interest, $2.07 billion. You can see articles written about this on a couple of Bitcoin magazines. I know Robinhood published one maybe 10, 15 minutes ago. You're going to see a lot of articles about this because this is a new record for Dogecoin. This is a new record for the meme coin, the coin that was supposed to be dead, the coin that wasn't going to rally and react in this market, the coin that was a flash in the pan and it was going to fall out of the top 10 and never be heard of again. That coin, that's the coin that just broke a record and now has over $2 billion in open interest. So $2 billion in open interest. So this is really, really a huge accomplishment. And you're probably going to see that trickle over to the charts here and have that positioning kind of come in. And again, you're looking at something like it's something similar to like a future, but it's mostly option driven. Once we get those futures in there, as far as for retail being able to participate, I imagine these numbers are going to be much higher. Now, if that is able to happen during the bull run, I believe that's only going to help. Just kind of like if X payments happen prior to peak bull run, that's only going to help, right? It'll help at any point in time, but obviously especially if it's before peak bull run, that's going to help propel it to even higher numbers here. But the numbers here are absolutely awesome. We are pulling up greatly, and I want to take a look here at the charts so that we can see how that kind of relays. But I imagine we're probably going to take back the losses that we had over the last couple of days, meaning that we're going to have probably a huge candle that may engulf the previous red day. Let's take a look. So if we take a look here, yep. So this candle here is we've almost accomplished all of the engulfed the candle that we had yesterday. So this is a rally here, and we didn't even come down to fully grab some support here. We got almost there as far as for where the previous day, which pretty much just took off from where the previous day started, and now the bullishness is continuing. We're headed toward 22 cents. So not coming down, not retesting some of those levels here. We have a couple levels of support. And what's really good is if we narrow this down and we say that, okay, well, it's not getting pushed down. The bears aren't strong enough. Longs are dominating almost at 80-20, and it's not going to have an opportunity to go down to around 18 cents. We could potentially establish another level of support here at around 20 cents, which is not bad. Don't get me wrong. Because at some point, I know you will establish these levels of support, and sometimes there'll be a little difficulty to break through. But that's one of the things about a bull run is there's no guarantee that you're going to retrace back down to those numbers. Now they're there, obviously, because that was a meeting of the minds in the market at that current time that they're willing to do it. Transactions there. You're going to have a lot of options there. People that are willing to either take profit there or increase their position there. So that's obviously how it becomes support. But if the market is strong enough, you can establish one that is higher than that because of the demand. So you don't necessarily, this is why I say about people who are trying to time in and wait for pullbacks, you have to understand that we are in a bull market. It is possible for us to struggle at 18, go above it, and establish a new support somewhere else and never see 18 again until the bull market's over. This happens. Like there are certain numbers that you're going to blow past and not revisit. Or even if you do revisit, it may be for a split second. Remember what happened at 12 cents? So, and that was supposed to be really our major line of defense. It was like 10 cents, but historically, all the charts pointed to 12 cents was going to give us trouble, and it did not. Not even on the brief retest, and certainly not on the way up. It just blew right through it. It was nothing. So sometimes that happens. So it's looking like we may actually establish a point of support here. We'll see. Obviously, if we do get a push down from like 22 again, and if we get a couple more tests on this, or at least one more, then you can start to say, okay, maybe this is some a weak level here. But ultimately, this is really, really good as far as where we're bouncing from, and this is what you want on a trend. On a leg 2, you'll want a position here to say, okay, well, what's the strength of this movement? And it's obviously very strong. So we're going to see where this candle closes, but just remember that this zone is now opened up to around 26 to 30 cents. So don't be surprised if we start seeing some momentum going up here, especially with the longs dominating the way they are. If we get to, I'll say 90%, 80, if we start getting to like 85% long, 90% long, that's when you start seeing like absolutely this parabolic movement going on that the bulls have complete. I mean, even right now with the shorts being 20% in the market and the market pricing in is positioning itself to have 80% longs in. That is how you get upward movement. That is how you get undeniable upward movement. That's complete control from the bull. So just kind of get ready for that. Let's take a look here on the charts. Whoa, excuse me. I'm gonna zoom in here. There we go. So not a lot of movement. Just right around that 14 red on the day. We'll see where this actually ends up going at, but we're not seeing a lot of movement thus far because, again, when things are rallying, you'll have that uncertainty. I don't know at what point they'll have this confidence again, maybe around the all-time high, or once we start getting to, around like 30, 40 cents, maybe if there's like some struggling going on, they'll jump back in, but it'll be a while before they get to that level of confidence again. Because I know for a fact we'll see probably even bigger candles around the all-time high because there's going to be that psychological aspect to it. I know they'll be waiting to see how the market's going to respond. But as of right now, we are seeing like this little tennis match, ping pong of up down, but no severe positions are being taken, and rightfully so. It doesn't make sense to jump in front of a freight train and yell stop if you're not Superman, right? So we do still have the weakening trend on Bitcoin, but it is certainly above 70,000. So even if we are consolidating there and using that as support, that's absolutely great. We'll see where this candle closes because, as we mentioned yesterday, you don't get strength from weakness. So we will see how many times this is going to happen, because if it doesn't break above it, then you'll have to grab some liquidity from somewhere, probably a 14-day, because we're right there. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to, tank down to around the 50s or something like that. But there is historically normally like I guess a having sell off around that time. So if we did, it's not the end of the world. That's typically the last sell off before you see the big run. But this is certainly good because we have the aspect of the trend weakening, yes, but it's consistently retesting. This is what happened when Doge was retesting the 19-cent mark, right? Around 18, 19 cent. It was just battling back and forth until it finally broke. So the candles were bigger on Doge, but obviously it's a lot easier to move a coin that's 18 cent versus 70,000. So you have to kind of keep that in mind too, especially when people look at the trend and say, okay, well, this is probably going to sell off. So you do have that aspect of money sitting on the sidelines just because of history. But when it does, you'll see that price action, and you probably will see something similar to what just happened in Doge, where it's like, oh, it can sell off and we got some support down here, and 60,000, 65,000. But the buying demand is so high that you don't get that type of reaction. You say, oh, well, you have support at 18 cent, and it drops like 2 cent. Everybody jumps in and it starts pumping again. You can see something very similar with Bitcoin, where that rush for position is happening, and you have that pre-halving sell-off, and then it just drops maybe down to like the 14-day, which is like $3,000, and then it starts pumping again, and that could be your sell-off, right? So no, not necessarily trying to predict those things, but just kind of keep an idea that this is a bull run, and sometimes support is not support. It'll establish a newer support higher just because the demand is overwhelming. So Doge just did that, and we can certainly see that in Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin is very infamous for doing that. Bitcoin, especially in the bull run, Bitcoin will ignore a level of support just because of the momentum coming into the coin. So, matter of fact, let me check one thing. I want to take a look at Bitcoin shorts, because typically they have a higher level of intelligence than Doge shorts. But doing the same thing. Little green on the day, but no big movements. Probably not going to see that level of confidence again right now. And I was certainly above the 200. We'll see, because basically this is when the shorts got wrecked and then longs got wrecked. This pattern here was very interesting for a lot of investors, because shorts got wrecked first and they came right back and wrecked some of the longs here, at least the short-term ones. So it was very interesting times here. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. Certainly if Bitcoin shorts get above the 200-day again. But as of right now, they haven't come close. Even when they did, they changed their mind. So we'll just kind of keep an eye on that. But even right now, they're below their 14-day. So we will keep an eye on this. But overall, I think that we are due for more upward movement. This is, as I said in my other video, this is not a drill, right? Yeah, we're doing absolutely fine here. So that will be I believe the range that we're going for now. We're probably going to do another retest at around 22 cent, which is fine. If we do a few retests over the next few days, that is absolutely fine. Again, we took a last cycle, I believe, well, even when we had that dissension, it was around 2 tests, around 22 cents. This is why I said that it's not a very strong level of resistance, but you can kind of expect there to be some, right? So last time we were there around a couple times. So we'll see, especially if we get a retest today. That'll be really great going into the week, but it shouldn't be an obstacle like 18 cent, right? But I don't expect it to be an 18 cent obstacle, but just kind of keep in mind, if we get rejected off of there again, that it's not something that's, randomly popping up. It was something we did last time. So that being said, I hope you found value in this video. I hope that the new records Dogecoin is setting is giving you an idea of the growth in the coin and the strength of this movement in the bull run. And the 80% longs, if the open interest isn't enough, the fact that the 80% longs are taking control of the market now, even on the day, it's down to 26%. They are technically running the market. This is evidence of the swapping we talked about. I hope that kind of gives you a feel for what the market is saying about Dogecoin and what the market is saying about the current price of Dogecoin. So if you found value in this video, please consider subscribing. We're going to try and get to 100,000 subscribers before Bitcoin reaches $100,000. So we're going to try and make history in the same year that Dogecoin does here. So if you found value, please consider subscribing and helping out with that. If you have any questions, comments, leave them in the comment section. I'll get to as many of them as possible. And I will see you guys in the next video.